Folks, what it do? What it do? Team No Sleep in the building. My goodness, I know we starting a couple of minutes late, but that's my fault this week. Good Lord, I got wires hanging all over the place. I'm looking at them and say, Montel, pray for your boy. Pray for me, man.
I got you, man. I got you.
Okay.
I ain't gonna throw you under the bus like you do when I'm a little late, but
See,
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give
we
you
gonna
a
start like
pass.
that. We haven't even been streaming for 2 minutes, and you already just throwing. But man, okay, gonna make me look bad. We got somebody sitting in the green room, but listen, how you doing? How you doing? Talk to the folks real quick about. Tell them about how
Blessed,
you doing.
man. Blessed as usual, man. Glad to
Yeah.
see you another day. All this madness going on in the news and stuff, man. I'm just happy, that we get an opportunity to do our show again and bring shed some light on some of these stories that's going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, man, we're not going to mess around. We're going to go ahead and get focused. We're going to go ahead and get moving. As always, we got some topics that we want to get moving with y'all. But Monta, I'm going to let you go ahead and do the formal introductions to the man behind the scenes and let folks know who we got coming up.
Absolutely. We got retired NFL player, former 1998 Pac-12 Player of the Year, Heisman Trophy finalist, the man that put Oregon on the map. They don't want to talk about it, but he put Oregon on the map. He's probably was one of the guys that helped transcend quarterback in the college. From definitely from an African American standpoint, he was a unicorn back in his day. There wasn't too many like him. Without further ado, let's bring out Akili Smith.
He didn't call the man a unicorn. Listen, come on now. Come on now. He didn't mess around and called him a unicorn. Boy, see, okay. And we're going to leave that alone. Go ahead now. Come on now. Welcome to the show,
I'm gonna be
brother. Welcome
truthful.
to the show.
Hey, there wasn't when he played when Akili played at Oregon, there was not a lot of guys in college football that looked like him that played like him. Let's just keep it honestly.
Let's
That
go
was
ahead.
a
Talk
unicorn.
about
Appreciate that.
Before those other guys, before the Michael Vicks, before the Cam Newtons, before the Donovan McNabbs, before all them, it was Akili Smith that set the tone, and he transcended the way it was played. Football was played in those days. So I don't think he gets enough accolades for that. The man has an impeccable resume. People want to try to talk about his NFL career that was kind of short tendered, but up until that point, and even beyond that point, he achieved what not even 1% of this world does that plays football. He's already achieved it and done it, been there, done it. So I think we need to give him his flowers while he's still here. And I know the brother knows his X's and O's.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was one of the most talented quarterbacks to play in this time. So we got to salute to that, man. Definitely.
Look at you. You better than
Man.
Steve Harvey over there. But look, don't know what to do. you bring him on for real. Appreciate you for being here, brother. Listen, if you don't mind, Montel can definitely do the 30,000-foot level. But can you tell folks who may not know who you are, kind of your origin story and kind of where you are right now, and just who Akili Smith is, if you don't mind, brother.
Yeah, just born and raised in Southeast San Diego. I played my youth ball at Skyline Park under the Pop Warner tenure. Now you got AYF and you got King Conference. You got so many different conferences going on right now. But back then, Pop Warner was cash cow, And then from there, I ended up going to Lincoln High School after my dad bounced me around a little bit. I played minor league baseball for 2.5 years, got drafted in the 7th round with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Once that was done, I came back to San Diego, went to Grossmont Junior College for 2 years, excelled there, ended up being the #1 quarterback in the nation at Grossmont Junior College. And that's when Coach Bellotti and Coach Peterson came to a practice and sold me on the opportunity to be a quarterback at the University of Oregon. Once that was complete, we had a nice year at Oregon. I believe we got blown out in one game. That's when Arizona had that desert swarm working out there with Chris McAllister and those guys. I mean, that defense was vicious back then. And they don't get a lot of credit. Hopefully Arizona can get their act together. I actually like Coach Fish. My family likes Coach Fish. And then I was able to be the 3rd pick in the NFL draft to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, listen, man, don't be humble now, right? Because you said a couple of things. Now, I want to make sure folks don't just gloss over that. Man said he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's baseball. And this man was Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson. Right? So definitely. So let's talk a little. I know we're gonna get into some key stories, but I'd love to talk about just that whole aspect, right? Being your Twitter account says triple threat, right? Just the fact of being excelling at that level, at these
Hmm.
sports at the same time. Talk to us a little bit about that, right? Having the opportunity to go into Major League Baseball, but then deciding to go into the National Football League, and then, like you say, day one, the first night, getting your name called, right? What 15 minutes later, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
That's
huge.
not
Anytime
bad
you
at
got an
all. Yeah,
opportunity, yeah, to get drafted in two sports, man. I don't like to brag about it, but there's not a lot of people that can say they got drafted in two sports.
yeah,
And chasing those dreams in baseball was my dad's dream. He made a bad decision, ended up going to the penitentiary. He had to lay down for 3.5 years, and when he got out, that's when he came and got me. And I was kind of chasing his dream, which was baseball,
mm,
but ultimately I wanted to play football. So I spent 2.5 years trying to hit that curveball, and like Tony Gwynn always said, if you're a good curveball hitter, you can see that dot on the curveball.
yeah.
For me, I could never see that dot, so that's why I had to go back to football. But it was a great experience. Anytime you get opportunity to get a contract at 17 years old out of Southeast San Diego, you can help your family out a little bit. It's definitely a blessing.
Awesome, awesome. But let me acknowledge this comment here. This is my mom, but mom, that's the wrong Oregon. And he was a duck. We gonna be beavers. So I know, but same state. That's why I didn't wear no OSU gear, right? I didn't wear none of my my orange and black right now. I didn't want to have you going through no fits or nothing. But
Yeah, don't
I
do
had
that.
I had to acknowledge that. Montel, wait, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Right? We always talk about kind of the social impacting story of the day. But I'm gonna throw you a curve, man, because another one came out this morning that is unfortunate. And since I'm up in Sacramento, I kind of want to talk a little bit about this and just get some awakening to this, right? So where are we at here? Former Sacramento Kings player Caleb Swanigan, I believe is his
Yeah.
last
Mhm.
name. We lost him. Well, we found out that we lost him this morning. So again, wanted to give some shouts out to his family and the people that are around
Yeah.
him. Let me make sure. Oh Lord, let me get the right screen going. There we go. There we go. 25 years old, right? That's a shame, right, to lose
Wow.
someone that young. Sacramento Kings basketball player. We just found out again that we lost him. The team made the announcement this morning. I know some folks that went to
Mm.
Purdue and we're also just kind of brokenhearted about this, but some terribly sad news, and just wanted to give some homage to that since that's coming here from my hometown.
Yep.
No
Yep.
question. No
That's sad. I
question.
mean, that's sad that sad that that situation happened, especially for such a young man, such a young
Yeah,
talented man. Able to make it to the league, and like you said, trying to guys trying to do right, and something like this happens. I mean, we never like to hear these things, but prayers to his family. His
definitely.
family and his
Right.
friends.
Right.
Obviously for strength. Prayers to the Kings. I think he also played for Portland as well. So pray to all those guys that supported this young man in his journey. So,
Yeah,
um, I hope, like all we can do is pray for his family, help things, everything is okay.
yeah. There
No
hasn't been
question. No
any
question.
identification in terms of what happened, but again, at 25, something's way too young, right? So
Hmm.
so
Way too young.
hopefully we can find out what it was and probably prevent someone, the next person, from that early age of losing their life. So, um, Deshaun Watson, brother. We we didn't talk
Oh
about we
man.
didn't see there you go. We didn't talk about this young man. This brother has gone from 5, 10, 18, then gone up to
Oh
66.
man.
Now it's gotten to the point where his attorney is saying 20 of 24 lawsuits have been settled. I'll put them in air quotes right there.
Hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
just this is worse than than a nightmare, worse than a soap opera. It's not funny. It's coming out as well that we're seeing onus responsibility on both Deshaun Watson himself and on Houston, right? Just
Right.
knowing kind of the pattern, and knowing the way that things were probably going down. Again, not making any assumptions, but just saying, just knowing that there was probably something going on that probably should have been nipped in the bud, so to speak. Talk to us a little bit about what your guys' thoughts are about what's happening right now, and when you see this news that's come out, 20 of the 24 lawsuits filed against Deshaun Watson have now been again settled.
Keep
Well,
keep
for
it. I'm gonna tee you
me,
up. Oh, go ahead, keep it going. Then I'm gonna tee
okay,
you up
go ahead.
after.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm gonna tee you
Yeah,
up after.
because
You go ahead, Smith. I'm gonna tee you up after. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, the way that I look at it is, it seems like everything started to happen when he wanted to get out of Houston,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of when things started to kind of kick off a little bit. Then the next
Explain
thing
that a
that I
little bit. Go
read,
a little bit further now, because you've been in that locker room, so you can talk a little bit more, right, in depth about this. Talk a little bit about what you mean specifically by that.
yeah, from what I'm reading between the lines, because we've had some meetings in Cincinnati too, where it was me, Takeo, Big Willie, Corey Dillon. We met with management, and we talked about the proper food. We talked about uniforms. We talked about all kind of stuff that we can do to try to help the Cincinnati Bengals organization. And obviously, they didn't listen back then. So from what I was reading and trying to gather, it looks like Deshaun Watson was having some communication with the front office. The front office didn't like what he was saying. Deshaun Watson decided to get up out of there and say, go ahead and trade me. And then that's when everything kind of exploded a little bit. But now here's the caveat when we dive into this thing a little bit deeper. The lawyer that was going against Deshaun Watson was neighbors with the owner of the Houston Texans,
Man,
right? So he's right down the street.
man.
So what type of conversations are they having behind the scenes to try to blackball Deshaun Watson, so that they don't have to pay him all that money that was guaranteed in his contract, right? So that raises a red flag for me. Now, I will say this: there are massage parlors where you can, get a happy ending. Let's just call it what it is, But for the amount of people that were coming forward, the amount of women, I don't believe that, and I think that's why 20 lawsuits were dropped today.
You're right.
My question to Akili, my question for you: knowing Deshaun Watson is that high-profile player, he's the face of the organization by all means at this point. He had whatever 24 cases, 67 accounts. In the front office of somebody has to know these allegations are bubbling somewhere on him before it comes to this head to the public in order to prevent it. I've always said that Deshaun Watson actually has an issue, right? He has a problem, whatever he's dealing with. But Houston either matched it or covered it up. So they're just as at fault as he is in this situation,
Right.
because they did nothing about it while he was the star player of the team. Am I
right?
on point with that?
You are exactly right, because I read that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Houston was sending some masseuses out to him, and they were actually recommending some masseuses for him to go to. So they had to know something. There's got to be some other players on the team that was going to those same masseuses. But why was it Deshaun Watson? And I really believe he's that good of a player. He led the league in passing the last time he was on the field, and I think they were really upset that he was trying to get out of there.
Yeah, I think it's all stemmed from them trying to leave. I agree with you 100%. I just have a problem that his name, his legacy is being dragged through the mud. He's not only going to lose money, but lose time in the NFL. And it seems like the Houston Texans that knew about this, nothing is being done. Like the league is doing nothing to them. When they knew he was exhibiting this behavior, they could have put a nip to it or a stop to it or addressed it with him to curb it down. They did nothing. They were like, so long as you're not a star player, you ain't got nothing to worry about. As soon as he says, I don't want to play for you no more, everything hit the fan. You're this bad guy all of a sudden. You're this guy that we don't want nothing to do with. And they're just as guilty as he is. So I don't know why the NFL is not pursuing Houston in the investigation, saying, hold on, you guys know about this. You did nothing about it. Why aren't you why ain't your hand being slapped just as hard as his?
And that's the nature of the beast. I mean, emails must be checked. They got to check phone logs and all that type of stuff. Houston's got to be investigated. We'll see if they do that, because typically the NFL owners are always right. They made these cahoots at the owners' meetings. The GMs are sitting in on these meetings. We can dive into that another time as well. But this is what we're dealing with, as players trying to make a living in the NFL, and it becomes difficult when you go against that beast called the NFL.
Wow. Let me ask this, man, because Akili, literally, you were in that same situation. Being that, and let me be clear, right? You were a quarterback in the National Football League. You got people around you who are. Well, this is my question that we've asked before, Montel. Now, don't you have people around you watching to make sure that, again, if you're the starting quarterback for this franchise, that you got a squad that's saying, "Hey, man, you probably shouldn't be doing this. We probably should go. We should probably go to this club instead of going to this club. All right, you don't need
Yeah.
66 massage therapists. You only need 5. You know, at that level, at that position,
Hmm.
and again, it's been a little bit of time since you've been in the league. But again, you were literally at behind center in the same role with, I think, a support squad. Talk to us a little bit about why, again, there was nobody helping Deshaun with this type of thing before it got so much out of hand. I guess that's a question that I've had ever since this whole story has been breaking for us.
Well, I'm gonna be quite frank with you. He probably has some people in his corner that was helping him and trying to persuade him to make the right decisions. But when you're the number one passer in the NFL and you're making 10, 15 million a year, sometimes you're not listening to those advisors and those people around you.
Wow.
You know, you get in your car and say, "Nah, I don't need nobody to ride with me today. I'm going over here to this masseuse.
Tell it like
I'm gonna
it
go
is.
relax.
Okay.
It's been a tough day, and I'll check back with you guys in a couple hours."
You need me to drive you to the house? No,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah, I got it today. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, they don't get no realer than that answer right there. That's the most realistic answer I've heard.
That's the truth. You know,
Wow.
everybody
Yeah.
has a nice team in their corner where you got people that's looking out for you and trying to make sure you're making all the right decisions. But then there's some times where you just want to be left alone to go unwind a little bit. And it looks like for him, unwinding was to get a deep tissue massage and do whatever he was doing behind closed doors.
Wow.
Now, I got a question on this whole scenario. So now that they're saying 20 out of the 24 have been settled, right? So I'm
Right.
sure there was an undisclosed amount of money. I have a problem with, people claiming sexual assault or sexual battery or sexual misconduct. To me, it seems like for a payday in this instance. Like, because if you really felt you were violated in this situation, you want to go to the extreme, right? The press. And I know he wasn't charged with any criminal charges. So now they're going to the civil suit. But I'm going to try to settle for maximum. If I felt you really violated me, I want to go for the maximum. For 20 to settle all of a sudden now, I hate to say it, man, it sounds like a payday. Like it's a money chase in the sense that for at least those 20. I don't want to discredit there being, something being done to them or them being assaulted. But to me, on the outside surface, it looks that way. Hey, he did something. It might have been improper for 20 minutes. Oh, now I'm going to go get this payday. He sexually assaulted me. He did this. I'm not demeaning women, but I know women that go in the club and they get their butt grabbed. They don't say nothing, right?
Yep.
They don't do anything, and there's nothing there. But now all of a sudden that they're in a situation with Deshaun Watson, it seems like it's been a payday, and it takes away from women that have really been sexually assaulted or really been sexually misconduct against, and it also makes professional athletes now have even more of a guard up about doing anything with anybody, right? And get in this situation. Is that kind of a fair assessment?
That's definitely a fair assessment. And then see, here's the thing. I wish that it was public record so we can see what that settlement was, right? That's what it's about. What was the settlement? Can we dig up those files to see exactly what it was? Because it's like this. You think about the youngsters that's in college, right? One of the ladies or one of the girls say he grabbed my butt as sexual harassment. He gets kicked off the team. Come to find out she was lying because he didn't want to be her girlfriend, right? So for me, it's like, okay, if this type of stuff continues to happen, at what point are we going to start to charge those females or males that are putting that person in that predicament? Because it's not right, especially when you're just going after money. Sabotage this man's career, sabotage his name. His kids is looking at him crazy. His family's looking at him crazy. And then all of a sudden, oh, we settled. And now let's go back to playing with the Cleveland Browns. Everything is hunky dory. It's just not, it's just not fair. Not fair at all.
If they know it's attached to money, I mean, that is a fair assessment. Depending on who's grabbing their butts, if they know the money's attached, I agree, man. I completely agree with that comment. And it's such an unfair.
That's Ron, who we had on the show a couple of weeks ago up in Washington State. So he's behind the scenes too. He knows a little bit about what's going on too with the league.
Yeah, so. I just think it's sad, man. I mean, it takes away from both sides, right? It takes away from the victims that have that situation, and now it makes NFL players or players in the situation, they got to be more cautious than anything for anything they do right now because everybody's out for it. Everybody's to get a dime, and it sucks because their money is publicized, right? It's publicized how much Deshaun Watson got. It's publicized how much money he got. So now he's more of a target. We talked about it with the NIL thing. We'll go into that a little bit. I think hopefully we get a chance to go into that.
Yeah.
I got a real deep concern about that, but I'm saying it's funny that these NFL guys can be targets, but like you said, the person that either claimed, lied, or it wasn't as serious as they thought it was, there's no repercussions for them at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. They just walk into the sunset and go on about their business.
Nothing. It's not fair. It needs to be changed, and somebody needs to try to discuss that because we got to put an end to that ASAP. We cannot continue to allow people to accuse X, Y, and Z of some type of sexual harassment. Then we start the case or whatever, we start the court case or whatever the case may be. We find out that nothing never happened, but his name has been sabotaged. Coaches are looking at him crazy. He's being dragged through the media. So now he's got to try to restore his name because of this lie that was fabricated by this individual.
How do you think he's going to be looked at by the organization now? I mean, does Cleveland now look at him with a side eye? That he's going to a new situation, or no? Winning trumps everything.
I don't think Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland cares. They got a baller, baby. All you got to do is win.
Listen,
welcome to the dog pound.
Wow. All right. So again, here I come out of right field. What does that say about us as a society, right? This man is accused of all of this stuff. Again, I didn't go into law. I'm into technology, but I'm just saying, what does that say for us as a society that we out there now betting on sports, we out here now buying all the memorabilia, all the gear. I may have to get some of your jerseys too. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But we invest in our athletes, in our sports, in our entertainment. Fan is short for fanatic. All he got to do is get out there and run up and down the field. All he got to do is throw a few touchdown passes. All he got to do is win. And next thing you know, Deshaun Watson could be in the next Pro Bowl. He could be right. I mean, we could just move on from this if.
We're the most hypocritical people in the world. That's
not
sports fans and people. We're just hypocritical.
Yeah.
And I hate to throw your man under the bus, James, but they did it. They did it with Roethlisberger.
God, I knew you would see it. As I was talking, I knew you was gonna bring up my Steelers, but you're right though.
I mean, I'm not talking about
got away with
it. Him in particular. He committed. He did this. They swept it under the rug as best as they could. They tried to keep it out of the media. He was charged. It went away so quietly, and he just kept on winning.
Yeah.
No one ever brought it back up again. Ben's a legend now. Big Ben's the legend all of a sudden because he kept winning. Deshaun Watson didn't even rape nobody. He was charged with them massaging him, and he's been dragged through the mud like he didn't committed the worst crimes in the world. So I think, and I'm gonna say this bluntly, there's a race issue in there, a race connotation in there, and the fact that Ben did continue to win. The winning trumped everything in this case, whether you did a criminal charge or not. Unfortunately, it trumps everything. And Deshaun still got to have to prove himself as a winner to clear his name and put it in the back burner. But he's been slandered all over social media and in the news, where Ben was so quiet. Some people don't even know Ben committed sexual assault and rape on this girl in a bathroom, in a restaurant.
At the end of the day, when you're talking about NFL owners or NBA owners or any owners of the big time organizations on planet Earth, it's all about the bottom line. Wow. They want you to win so that they can continue to make money. We'll sweep that under the rug. This too shall pass. And guess what? The show must go on. That's just the way it works. The show must go on.
That's a good point, man.
I agree with Ron right here. This comment. Remember, there's three sides. Yeah.
Yeah. No question.
And the truth. Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
No question.
That is crazy, man. Loving all the engagement, loving all the interaction with the folks that are listening and watching. Look, I see y'all over there on Twitter too. Come on over now. You can't leave comments on Twitter. Come on over to YouTube and hang out. Listen, we got first round draft choice, Akili Smith in the building. We got Mr. Bengals, Mr. Packers. Hold on, where
better yet, Mr. Oregon. He Mr. Duck. Call him Mr. Oregon.
I'm talking about Oregon because I'm a Beaver. Yeah. Listen, we're not gonna talk about Oregon.
We'll forgive you. We'll forgive you for that. You all right? We'll forgive you. For that.
They gave my son some money, so that's why we Beavers.
You got to take it.
I'll be there this weekend too, walking around campus. Just I'm gonna be out there seeing what's going on. But let's take advantage of the fact that we got you here. We can go through these topics and we will. They're kind of more short in terms of the discussion, but Montel brought up about NIL, right? And name, image, and likeness, folks. We talk about that on the stream a lot. And you guys know we talk about that, but that wasn't a case that wasn't available to you, right? When you were
Right.
playing. What are your thoughts? And Montel, I'll let you continue the discussion, but I want to be cognizant of the fact that we've got this man here now that the NCAA is letting star athletes be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. Again, not something that you had the ability to take advantage of. But what are your thoughts about the whole process, the whole transfer port, everything that's surrounding that? And then I know where Montel wants to go once you answer this first question. We want to get a little bit more deeper into kind of the social pieces of that. But I'll let you talk about it.
Well, right now we're dealing with college free agency, just like NFL free agency. It's college free agency at its highest. And one thing that Nick Saban said to me, and I actually posted on my Twitter, he talked about the collective, right? That wasn't what the NIL was supposed to be about. And with the collective, you have some of them programs that were able to beat the rules, if you will, a la Texas A&M. They found the loophole. They was able to beat the rules. They was able to sign one of the top recruiting classes in the history of man. And now we'll see if they can put that together and parlay that into a national championship. But again, until you go out there and win, like we said, you can get all them 5 stars and all them 4 stars that you want. Because a lot of the people that's doing the ranking and stuff like that, they never put on a jockstrap.
Man,
And when you get to
leave Stephen A. Smith alone.
Hey, look, and when you get to college, none of that stuff matters. No way. They don't care if you're a 4 or 5 star. You gotta put your jockstrap on. You gotta put your cleats on. Go get tape. Go do whatever you need to do. Get your butt out there on the field and be ready to play.
Man, that's truth right there, Mr. Riley. We see in the building. Listen, James Riley, he's got his kids. His sons are actually really well respected in the game of football as well, so he can relate to this conversation. But
Nice.
Go ahead, Montel. I know you're going to talk about it, right? Just the aspect of go ahead.
Well, my problem with the NIL is just it's not structured right. It's not structured right, in my opinion.
Right.
I believe the same situation we're dealing with now. I've always said it from day one. They have not thought about the criminal element that's going to seep into NIL.
Yeah.
Because it's public knowledge all of a sudden now. And the schools have to report it, so it is public knowledge. So I'm saying a young man in Tuscaloosa who's a quarterback is now driving around in a $50,000 car.
Come on now.
There's not many people driving around a $50,000 car in Tuscaloosa. So what's going to prevent his homeboys or his friends or associates from back home from nabbing his grandma and holding up for ransom to get money? I mean, we're in a day and age where there's desperate times and desperate needs, and this money is just out there so prevalent to 17. Actually, Mikey Williams was 16 to 16 to 18 to 16, 18, 20, 22-year-olds. Where now we're not talking about here's a couple of $1,000s for you to eat. We're talking about here's the life-changing wealth for anybody to get their hands on it. And I don't think they thought about that part. I think the NCAA, since colleges were crying about it for so long, about we want to be able to pay our players and do all this, I think the NCAA said, go ahead, go free will with it, do your thing, and let's see what happens. We're not there yet, but I do believe there is going to be a social criminal aspect behind this thing, more prevalent than we know, because we got jealousy and envy on everybody, every team. There's jealousy and envy on every team. There's jealousy and envy on people that when you made it and you didn't make it. I'm sure, Keely, when you were able to go off to the pros, there was people hating on you. People was talking bad about you, So it's 10 times worse than it was when you did it now, because the accessibility. I just have that problem with the structure because there is no structure around it right now. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, here's the other thing that I would say about it, because even in the NFL, you can find different businesses that you can partner with, and then on Tuesday you can go have an appearance at a Mercedes-Benz dealership, at a Ferrari, in hopes of selling a car while you're taking pictures and doing autographs. So again, I would love to kind of see what type of deals that they have as far as getting these cars. Is it your car or is it a loaner car? Do you got to turn the car back in after the season? You see what I'm saying? Because the stories that I'm hearing with some of these big numbers, and some of them are fabricated, some of these guys haven't been paid yet. And that's the God honest truth.
And
they
that's
got
another
millions
thing.
on. They have not been paid yet. You got some guys that have been promised 20,000 pieces of NFTs, and then the booster is going to buy the NFT from you to put in your pocket. That stuff hasn't went down yet. So it looks pretty good on social media. I know some people who haven't been paid yet. So we'll see what happens with this NIL stuff.
Yeah, I know you're right on that. I know I've seen some people that they haven't been compensated for what they're saying and all that stuff. I'm saying the way it's structured, the way the NCAA has structured it, or what it's structured right
No
now,
question.
it's dangerous. It's dangerous right now. I believe it's a danger. You're playing. You're mixing a bad cocktail with this situation. Now I do like the team NILs, where teams are selling their like image and likeness in order to help pay all the players. I think that's excellent. I think some of the teams are doing. I think LSU was the first team to do it. They're selling
doing it the right way.
Yeah, they're doing it the right way. They're paying all their players, so that's a great thing. I just have a really big problem, man, with some of these players, like I said, getting this kind of money at this young of age with very little. I mean, we already have a hard time when you guys are first drafted, teaching them how to manage money, how to do these things. I can't only imagine a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old coming into $800,000 or having an $800,000 deal with somewhere along the line was promised to him. How do you navigate with that? And also, what about when the pressure's too much and he fails? What if this high prospect gets all this money and all of a sudden he's not productive on the field? We haven't even talked about that impact yet, which could possibly happen. What is that going to do to a team or to a player? Because we just know USC just signed a big NIL deal. One of their players just signed a big NIL deal. What if he's not successful at USC? Tell me what you think. What's going to happen? You've been there. What's going to happen if he's not successful?
Yeah. That just happened with Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler signed a huge deal. And next thing you know, Caleb comes in, he's balling. Spencer got to transfer out of there. Caleb gets a deal at USC, and now Oklahoma is shopping for another quarterback. We could talk about DJ Ugalele, another millionaire. Again, we got to be able to see the books. We got to be able to see the contracts to make sure that these youngsters is getting that money. But he was another one that didn't have a big year like they expected him to have. So from that perspective alone, I think it's very dangerous with what they're doing right now. You're right. The NCAA must step in and regulate some of the rules and stuff like that. But hats off to Texas A&M, man. They found the loophole. They was able to discover some money from some of them boosters. They got them youngsters into their school. And let's be quite real about this. SEC been doing it for years, baby. They've been prior to the NIL. SEC been doing it for years, So now I think Big Nick is kind of upset that the rabbit is out the hat because now some of the other schools have been able to keep up with him and get some of them 5-stars to come to their program.
I got a quick question before you interject, Jack. So with that being said, you just said it. I've always said bigger markets are going to start to swallow the small markets, and I think Nick Saban sees the writing on the wall. Like if Texas A&M and USC can give all this money out, there's no way the boosters of Alabama are going to be in a match in the long term with the Michigans, with all, because that money there is super long. Tuscaloosa got long money because the football program, they got alumni money forever in Michigan, USC, and all this stuff. So I think Nick Saban's saying, hey, longevity-wise, brother, I can't keep up with the Joneses because in a minute, it's going to be the highest payer. It's going to be who's going to go to the highest pay, right? It ain't going to be hey, I want to go there because I love it. No, it's going to go, I'm going there because they're giving me $1 million off the bat, off the rip coming out of high school. That's why I'm going there. So I think Nick Saban just seems to write it on the wall. Like in 5 years, brother, Alabama might not be the top of the field because they can't pay everybody.
Yeah, I think he's calling it out, and I think he's calling his boosters out. And to be quite honest with you, when I'm an Oregon Duck, when you got Uncle Phil behind you and he's worth $60 billion, if he wanted to, he can buy every 5-star on the planet and every baller out of the transfer portal. But there's a reason he hasn't done it yet. You see what I'm saying? As his lawyers are probably looking at what's going on with this NIL stuff.
I would agree.
That's that old money, right? Listen,
old money,
that's
baby.
That old money, right? Give us some of that old money. Nothing wrong, but it's an interesting. Because you brought up a different dynamic than we've typically talked about, right? We typically talk about in Montana, we'll lead that discussion about the social element, about the unfortunate criminal element. But you talked about, listen, some of these cats haven't even gotten their checks yet, haven't got their NFTs
Mm-mm.
yet. So they're out there
Mm-hmm.
doing the thing. They're out
Mm-hmm.
there, filling up the groceries at the local grocery store. They're out there
Mm-hmm.
dishing out popcorn at the movie theater, waiting on that check to come through, and they haven't even got that yet.
They
That's
ain't
going to
got it.
be a rude awakening, I think, as well, when some of them young athletes get on their social media accounts, get on their Twitter, and start talking about, hey, you know what, X, Y, and Z Mercedes Benz company has stifled me on my 50. I'm just being uh, devil's advocate on this, but we'll see how this
Yeah.
all works out.
Hmm. You're exactly right, and it's happening right now here in California. We know several kids that have not been paid that play in the Pac-12 in the LA area. We know some kids that's in the SEC that haven't been paid. So we'll
Wow.
see if they get those dollars. But right now, like Montel said, I'm in total agreement. They have to clean it up.
Yeah,
Mom asking,
they
so
got.
where they getting this money from?
Hey,
Yeah,
I got a question though,
exactly.
Akili. With Dion, so we know Dion had one of the best recruiting classes as well, coming from a division,
Yeah,
from coming from a D1 AA. And I've always said I think he's changing the landscape for HBCUs. I
Yeah.
think he's
no
leading them
question.
to get a TV contract. What he's doing, he's spearheading for
Hmm.
them to get that big TV contract like the SEC and all them got. What do you think? How successful do you think he's doing with this recruiting thing? And I know he says he doesn't pay players. I don't believe it. I know somebody's giving some checks for somebody for these top recruits to come to Jackson State. But how do you feel his dynamic and his contribution and what he's doing to change the landscape of college sports? How do you feel it's going to look in the next, 1, 3, 5 years from now, as far as he's
I
concerned?
think he's doing I think he's doing a phenomenal job with the marketing. But we got to understand, we were a part of the Deion Sanders era when he was playing. This is who he is. He wants all
Mm-hmm.
the attention on him, and from a sponsorship standpoint, I mean, he's got Barstool, he's got Under Armour, he's got a ton of people that can get kids money if they need money to come to Jackson State. Now, was it $1 million? If he said it wasn't, then I'm in agreement. It wasn't for the Hunter kid that actually signed with Jackson State. He said that it was a homecoming game that he went to, and I guarantee that band was bumping at halftime. All the fans was going crazy. I bet Jackson State was alive, and he visualized himself playing for Jackson State. Deion Sanders was able to talk to him about everything that he went through in the league and how he can help him transition into the league. And that kid couldn't turn that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay,
couldn't turn that down.
you've been there. The gap. What's the gap? Division 1 AA and Division 1. Is that gap shrinking or getting bigger in playing field? Because I think,
Honestly,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's definitely shrinking because
Mm-hmm.
now you got a lot of NFL guys that are now going to the league from D1 AA, D2s, and now
Yep.
that Prime is at the HBCUs, they're gonna start getting some combines and stuff like that to start showcasing their talent because at the end of the day, it's always maybe, the Power Fives want a guy that was 6'2". Well, maybe he was only 6'1", 6 foot, but he can still play. All right, so you got to go to the D2. Go to the D2, get bigger, stronger, faster, work on your speed, make sure your eyes are where it needs to be pre-snap and post-snap, and then you'll get that opportunity to play on Sunday. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what's happening right now.
yeah. I believe your approach that Luis Perez is probably a great example of that. Luis Perez is doing this thing in the
Exactly.
USFL.
Yes,
I
no
think that,
question.
and I think parents need to listen to something to a comment like that. They need to understand. I talked to Shea McClure in Southern Utah. He was saying
Hmm.
you got to find the perfect fit, the marriage, the school that wants you and you want the school. That's where
Right.
your success comes. When you have one or the other that's hesitant on each other, it's never successful. It's never successful. If the college don't want you and you want to go there, or the new coaching staff comes in and don't want you, it's never successful, and vice versa. If you want to be there, and they don't. It has to be a perfect marriage when success kind of thrives
And that's
in
and
those
that's what
settings.
I tell my quarterbacks all the time. Like, listen, there's a quarterback right now. His name is Jack Sears. He was at USC. He went to transfer to Boise State, and now he's talking about sitting this year out because he's in a portal, and a Power Five didn't decide to take him.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, the NFL recruiters are going to find you, but they got to have something that they can evaluate. When the ball is on the left hash, how many times did Jack Sears throw the ball clear across the field? Was it 10 times? How many times was he accurate? How many times did Jack Sears hit a bang eight? How many times did Jack Sears hit a curl route? How many times did Jack Sears throw a 50-50 ball on a go ball? How many times did Jack Sears had to scramble, step up in the pocket, and make an awkward throw? All they need is something to evaluate. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell these guys. You know how it is, Montel. We struggle in San Diego to try to convince these guys to go
Yep.
D1 AA or D2. Nah, man, I'm just going to go JUCO. I think I can play Power 5. But here's the thing. Because of the portal, you can go D2, D3,
Mm-hmm.
D1 AA, get bigger, stronger, faster, jump back in the portal, and then try to bump up. And they still won't listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
you just hitting what recruiting 1-on-1 and things we talk about all the time. I think parents, kids, and even just being from a social aspect because these kids on social media, that social aspect right there, kids got to understand the process.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, in college football, there's only 125 teams, right? There's only 3 quarterbacks on each team, so you got to be the top 300 quarterbacks to go make a Division One squad. Top 375, right, to be in the Division One squad, to be, for exact numbers. There's only 300 starting. That means you got to be better than the top 300 that are there already. And from that 300, it shrinks down to 32 if you want to go in the NFL. So 10%, you got to be part of the 10% rule in order to get in there. And I think most kids, 90% of kids aren't developed yet to go at that level. Like you were developed already when you went to that level. Most guys that are going to that level, those guys that you see that are freshmen starting in college, they're already developed. They're developed young men. Most men, it takes them a year or two to develop, get the strength, get the speed, get the IQ that they need to do in order to perform and play at that level. And I think they don't see that. They just see stars. Most kids are just chasing stars. They're chasing
stars.
They just chasing the opportunity. They're not chasing the process, what it takes in order to get there. And that's parents' fault. I think that's more parents' fault than it is kids' fault because what you put in front of them is what they're gonna go eat. I put college education in front of my kids, not football, not sports. Let's go get this piece of paper because I know that's gonna last you a lifetime. The sports comes on top of it. That's that frosting on the cake. I want the cake first, then you can get the frosting all you want. You can eat as much frosting as you want after that. But we gotta. I think that process gotta really be understanding. It's really like you said. I think Akili, it's starting to fall into the social impact. It is falling into social impact because our kids are being hindered from getting college educations because they're chasing sometimes a dream that ain't gonna come true. To be honest with you, it's not gonna come true.
No. And you got to always remember what the end goal is. The end goal is always the education. And the end goal is to be a pro or some type of ownership, whether you own a real estate company, whether you're going into the tech world or whatever the case may be. Because I tell my guys all the time, in youth football, we're passing through. High school, passing through. College, passing through. Now we're in the pros. You got to start making some decisions. You're going to be part of the 1% in the NFL, or you're going to try to be a part of the 1% in the working world. You're going to try to get your salary to 6 digits where you're doing something to provide for your family. And again, Montel, you got some guys that listen and you got some guys that don't listen. So I look up all the time and I get phone calls all the time. Coach Smith, can you help my son with this or help him with that? And I'm just shaking my head. And guess what we do, Montel? We pick up the phone and help him anyway. After we done told him exactly, what to do, they don't listen. And just the kindness of our heart, we still try to help them anyway. So we're not gonna stop doing what we're doing, man. And that's just what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's tail it off of that, man, because I don't think we touched on some of the things that you're doing today, right now, Akili, right, with the kids and out there and getting them right and getting them ready, right? So talk a little bit about the camps and the things of that nature that you're working in and working on right now.
Yeah, we got a camp coming up right now called Senegal Spotlight, and Montel is helping me with that. Montel has always been in my corner with anything that I'm doing. And, we want to start ranking some of the kids in San Diego and creating a platform that we can use to help these kids get a college education. Outside of that, I've got several quarterbacks that are in college right now. I think the number's at about 15 or 16. Hopefully they can have a good year this year so they can start to transition into the NFL, and then we can start the business aspect of life and teaching them the right decisions to make on and off the field. And yeah, my son is right there. I'm looking at the Twitter right now. My son is coming up. I'm extremely happy about that. He's creating some buzz on Twitter. right
Don't be
now.
modest, bro. Hey, wait, don't be modest
I
about
told
that.
you that. Hey, we told you that. Don't be modest
I'm
around here.
a call. I'm a call it. Hey, we're here first. DJ will be the #1 quarterback in the nation by his senior year.
Right
The
on,
#1
man. Wow,
quarterback
that's
in
big.
high school football his senior year. James, I seen this kid when he was young. When he's in junior high, he used to throw the ball. It's like, oh yeah, he gonna be a little, he gonna be good.
He gonna be all
Yeah,
right.
Dude,
yeah.
he a freshman. He's 6'5" as a freshman.
Mhm.
What y'all eating down there in Southern? I was
Bruh.
just down there last weekend. What y'all, man?
And he can sling the rock, man. He can sling the rock. I'm telling you. I know people. I know they always have these non-committable offers go out and all this thing. But I'm
Yeah,
gonna give you as a father in his roles because we talked about a lot of stuff. You like, bro, I'm not going nowhere until I get DJ right and he's ready to go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's there. He will be the #1 high school prospect his senior year. I'm telling you guys that right now. He's just a guy. Yeah.
And look, Montel, I'm not gonna lie to you. The guys that I've talked to in the NFL and in college, when they say that they don't have the opportunity to spend time with their kids, they don't have the opportunity to go pick their kids up from school, drop their kids off at school, go to their youth football games and stuff like that. I wasn't gonna put myself in that position. You know, I've seen Jeff Tedford sit in the office from 6 a.m. in the morning to like 11 p.m. at night, to where guys are pulling out mattresses and sleeping in the office.
Wow.
Wake up, go jump in the shower, brush your teeth, and now we're going to go have some breakfast, and we're doing it over again. The wife comes on Saturday, gives them a kiss after the game or whatever the case may be, but they are stuck in the office because guess what? Big business requires you to be at your desk to win football games.
My goodness.
And I didn't want to do that with my family and my kids.
Yeah, man. I remember we talked about all that, like, wow, how come you were at the next level and all that stuff. And you always expressed that to me that you would never do that to your son. And I commend you for it. Because I know a lot of people, like we said, we know a lot of people in the business that does do it. But I could see him maturing. Like I said, I remember him throwing the ball in 6th grade. Like, oh, yeah, he's going to be cool. He's going to be good. And now to see him become he's a young man. He's a young man. He's at 6'5". I think he's 6'5", 190, right?
Yeah.
6'5", 190,
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
6'5", 201 is what he
Come on
weighed
now.
in.
I told you
201.
there's something in the water down
Yeah,
there,
give
boy.
me the one. Give me the one.
Yeah, I'll give you the one. And we got to think about it. This young man, he's only 14 years old.
Wow.
14, he ain't going to do
15,
nothing but
15,
get
15,
better.
15.
Oh, 15. He's not but 15 years old,
Yeah.
about to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And man, I commend you for it, man. And I can't wait to see. I know you where you want him to go. I ain't going to even ask you where you want him to go, but can't wait to see him get all the offers he gonna get and do his thing at the next level. I think he's gonna be a really good sight to see. We're gonna hear his name. I think we're gonna hear his name in the NIL not too long from now either. But he's definitely a special young man. But I have to commend you on that big time.
Yeah, we got some stuff we working on behind the scenes, but again, we're gonna do it right. It's time for him to start branding himself. He's got to trademark his logo. He's got to go to GoDaddy and purchase that. You know, we got to talk about the life insurance and putting his money in the right place and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, we definitely gonna educate him to make sure he's good to go.
Man. That's doing it the right way, right? So we could go for like 2 more hours. Just again, as I started,
Hey, bring me
he's
back
got the people
anytime.
behind him, and you're just such an interesting case because again, you were there, right? Again,
Right.
the night one, you got your name called, right? And so you have been in those rooms, you have been on the field, you know all of the lights, camera, and action, and all that, and to have you as a father talking to a son who's going to come right up behind you, that's just an interesting situation. So shouts out to you and kudos to you, your family, right, for that work right there. I wanted to bring this comment up because again, Mr. Riley is down in your neck of the woods as well. He says his son realizes he made the wrong choice when he chose his first D1 program, but he got that degree and has jumped into the portal, selected another place to finish his football career. Education first, sports second.
No question.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah.
I
Good job right there.
I believe in that moniker. I always believe in that moniker because I like to play the long game. You know what I'm saying? I know for a fact how hard it is to make it to that league and then to be sustainable. And really to make money in the league, you got to be there for what, 5 years now before you get pension, right? I think it's 5 years
4
before you
years.
get pension.
Yep. You got to get 4 in.
Pension. So you got to be on the active roster for 4 years before you can get that long-term money in the NFL. I don't think people understand how hard that is to play at that level and sustain it for 4 years. Like it's really hard to be that guy for 4 years. Even if you're gonna be a bench player, it's very hard. So I always tell kids, make sure you figure out how to get that piece of paper, because take that money and go invest in something, or build your own business, or set yourself up for life with your education behind it, where you can work for the next 20 years, but you have that big nest, that you have a nest egg behind you. It's hard though. That's a hard conversation to have with a lot of young people, because they always think they're going to make it. That education thing is the one key that gets us on the playing field with the machine. You know what I'm saying? By machine, I mean like with the other people in the economy, the other society. That education gets us on the playing field. It doesn't make us equal, but it gets us on the playing field. We know what happens when you don't have that education, right?
No
Few slip through the cracks,
no
but most
question.
of them, most of them stay down in the bottoms, and have to take penitentiary chances on order to make life work. Right? We don't want
And
that.
look, I had an opportunity to see Olave this weekend at San Diego State. Obviously, he's from San Diego. His dad grew up in Skyline, the same area that I grew up in. And I said, if I had any advice for him, take your signing bonus and put it up and live like you don't even have it. You can put that in life insurance or whatever. You can draw a salary off of that, and you'll be good to go. Your appearance money, your salary for the year, and all that old type of stuff. Okay, that's what you can kind of function off of. We can get our houses, we can get our cars. Let's start a business. Don't go too crazy, but at the end of the day, put that money up, because I always look at Bobby Bonilla. And that Bobby Bonilla contract is one of the best contracts in the history
Still
of
getting
man.
money, boy. That man
My
is still
goodness
getting.
gracious. That was genius right there. I'm looking at Lee Steinberg right now like, dang, Lee, what if I did that?
That was the
Man,
baddest. That's the baddest contract ever.
there
History of
should be some
sports.
college courses on that. There really should.
That's a whole nother topic with the indoctrination and all that stuff. Let's touch base on that in about 45 days. But yeah, that should definitely be a college course.
Absolutely. Man, hey, Akili, first and foremost, brother, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge. That's one thing. Two, man, congratulations on being inducted in the Junior College Hall of Fame. That's number two. Number three, I'm gonna peel a little scab back, and I'm gonna talk about how disappointed I am in the ESPNs, the CBSs, and the Fox Sports, because I don't know if they've ever reached out to you, but they haven't reached out to you hard enough to get you on to be a guest analyst. And I think your resume speaks more value than a lot of guys that are on there. You're better. Your resume is better than the Brady Quinn's. It's just as good as the Matt Miners. He just got the one national championship. Yours is just as good as the Matt Miners. What's the boy from Washington State, Ryan Lee? Your resume is way better than Ryan Lee's.
Boy, you dropping names. Go ahead on dropping names.
No, I'm being honest, because I think all those guys, not only did they get their roses, but they got an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? They get their opportunities to go on Saturdays and talk about sports and how to break it down and break down plays. And I think my man's resume speaks just as more powerful, but that extension hasn't either been handed out or hasn't been handed out hard enough for them to attract you to at least come on Saturdays, where you can come and drive out to LA and do your thing. You're not in the back. You're not into some backwoods place. You're right in the Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles area, greater area of Southern California, where they can pull you. And I think you don't get the kudos you do for your accomplishments, man. And I really do. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think you transcended a lot of things and opened up a lot of doors that people don't want to give you credit for. And like I said, Oregon owes you everything, because you put them on the map. Before you came there, Oregon, everyone was Washington, Arizona, and USC. Akili Smith stepped on the scene, and now Oregon's on the scene, and they ain't fell off the scene since. So, man, congratulations with all that, man. For real.
Yeah, thank you, Montel. I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Man, this is what it's all about. Glad we had the opportunity to have you on and talk. I like what Mr. Riley said. Yeah, and bring Coach Smith back soon. Listen, you got. I always say,
anytime.
you got keys to the front door. Just come on in, right? Just don't eat all the food, but you can come on in at any time, and let's chop it up, because there's so many more items that we could have discussed. And again, just someone from your perspective to hear what it's like, again, in that locker room, behind the scenes, going through the process, which we talked about. Would love to hear that, especially for the youngsters. So someone like James Riley,
Yes.
right? He's out there coaching as well, and his sons are out there playing the game. So he's got an intimate knowledge to what's going on behind the scenes. So let's see what we can do and keep that moving. Akili, tell
Okay.
folks where they can find you moving forward, man. Because I'm definitely gonna put a couple of links, like your Twitter account and some things like that, in the description. But tell folks where they can find you, man, moving forward.
Yeah, definitely on Twitter. You can find me at Akili Smith. There it is right there. And then I'm on Facebook under Akili Smith as well. Be careful with the Akili Smith page on Instagram. I have been hacked. So I'm in the process of trying to
Oh,
get
okay,
that
hold
back.
on.
But
So that's not
I'm
you,
not
because when I
that
went and looked at it today, I said, "Who is?"
somebody
Right.
hacked
I'm
me and
glad you
put a
said that.
female
I'm glad
picture
you
up
said that. I
there.
was like, wait a minute. You notice I didn't put it up. Okay.
Nah, nah, that's not me. So look, I had to put my face all on the screen with Instagram and to the side and turn it that way. So I'm in the process of trying to get my Instagram back right now.
Trying to get it
If it doesn't
verified.
happen, then I
Okay.
got to start it. Yeah, I'll get it back. But I'm not hard to find. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. DM me anytime. I love talking about life, football. It doesn't matter. And if I don't have the answers, I will try to find the answer for you.
I love it, man. Love it, brother. Appreciate that. Listen, Montel, tell folks, man, right? Every Tuesday we come on, we try to talk about the social impact of sport.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We try to bring the real and bring different perspective, and always look through that another person's lens, right? This time we got to look through a professional athlete's
Yes,
lens.
sir.
How things are supposed to work and where they go, and his perspective on things. So, man, we're just trying to bring a different twist to the podcast game, so we
God,
can
look, we
so we
hitting
can
them
make
here,
things
and
better.
then on Sundays, listen, was it Sunday mornings? You got straight from the horse's mouth. Talk to him now.
Straight
Talk
from
to
the
him.
horse's
Oh
mouth,
Lord,
man. Like
let me get you right. I wasn't planning on using this
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
but
yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Straight from the horse's mouth is we cutting out the middleman for information. That's bottom line. That's what it is. I'm connecting, coaches and trainers like Akili, which I will have him on the show if he's still online. He'll be coming on the show soon. But I want coaches, trainers, people administrative in colleges to tell kids the process and get them to better understand the process. What goes on with recruiting, what goes on with administrative, what goes on with your academic education and your compliance and all the whole nine, everything they have to do with you moving up to the next level. I want to be able to have it here on this show and be able to connect the dots for kids, so they don't hear from a relative that used to play, or they don't hear from a coach, or they don't hear from somebody else. They can hear directly from a guy that's in that profession.
Yeah. Hold on, Akili, he logged off.
Oh,
Did
you
you?
logged off?
Yeah, where he
Brother,
at, man? He's supposed to be behind this brother, man. He
my
threw with
brother
us.
jumped. It's all good. It's all good.
He threw with us. Jim, I just saw your comment, man. I don't know why they flagged that one. I'm gonna change your access on the channel, brother, because I'm gonna make sure you don't get blocked like that. So I just saw your comment. I appreciate you. Listen, folks, we out. Stay well. Take care of yourselves. We will be back. Listen, Keone. Okay, parents need that information. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us as well. Next Tuesday, we got another topic. We didn't talk about any of the other topics. We were going to talk about the Brittany Griner thing. We were going to talk about what else were we going to talk about? Oh
We're
my
gonna talk
God.
about homeboy, the swimming dude. They banned him now. They said they can't put the
Yeah, that was
transgender.
going. So
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
still be fresh next week. So
yeah,
tune
yeah.
in next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, folks. We with you. We out.